Hello, it's Phil Thatch, and I'm back here once again at Frost Stadium. Had to park way out in the outfield today. Heather and I are both going to be shooting today, and we're trying something a little different. Heather's going to use her regular rig. She's going to use her Nikon Z50 and the Tamron 18-400 lens, and I brought the ZFC, and I have the 70-200 f2.8 f-mount lens, the VR2 version, and I'm also trying out the Viltrox 56mm f1.4. So let's get started doing some softball photography. I shot a few innings using the Viltrox 56mm f1.4. Just the first couple, you know, I was carrying a $2,300 lens with me in the 70-200 2.8. But while I was testing the Viltrox, I thought, you know what, I'll make a few shots at this softball game. So let's look at the Viltrox shots first. Okay, here we are with the Nikon ZFC and the Viltrox 56mm 1.4 shooting softball. And I had to stop it down. It was bright enough that I had to stop the lens down to f2 because the fastest shutter speed on the ZFC and the Z50 is 1/4000th. And at 1.4, I was overexposing. So this is f2, as you can see up here at the top of the screen. F2, ISO 125. I used auto ISO. It was partly cloudy, so the exposure changed a lot. And 1/4000th with the prime lens. Here is a shot of UTC's pitcher. And here is one of UTC's players. Looks like she is getting out at first base. Here is a batting shot, another 1/4000th shot at f2. I like to make these 16:7 crops for what I call the panorama look. And here is another batting shot, very similar composition. And here is another one. Now this one is my favorite one because the ball, you know, a lot of times the object of the game is to get the ball close to the bat after somebody has hit it. But if you're doing the panorama crop, it kind of helps the composition to have the ball far away from the bat. And I also like this one. You can see the entire dugout full of players paying attention to the game. You got the coaches, you got the batter in the on-deck circle, you got the Chattanooga C over here. I cropped out the umpire, but I made sure to keep the hindcatcher in. And this gentleman over here is at about every game making photographs. I think he was doing videos on this particular day. And right there is my buddy Ray Soldano up there working with his D850 and his 120-300 f2.8. So really like this particular shot right here. Here's one of the UTC players coming in to score, another 1/4000th shot at f2, and looks like whoever is running to first base, and this shot is out by a mile because she's not even in the picture yet. And here is a portrait of Ray. Now the minimum focus distance on that Viltrox is not too much, so I actually had to lean back and Ray had to lean back. He came over and said hi to Heather and I for a moment while we were doing photographs from the first base line. And speaking of the first base line, here is a UTC player. Looks like, unfortunately, she is getting out at first base, but I did think the photograph came out nice at f2 and 1/4000th of a second. Here is another UTC batter hitting the ball. This is another 16:7 kind of a widescreen looking shot. And then I switched to the 70-200 f2.8G VR2 on an FTZ adapter for the rest of the game. There is the catcher, and every time the pitch was thrown, she would kick her right leg out and get down low to catch the ball, which I thought was cool. Here is the pitcher with the 70-200 f2.8G, and her eyes are nice and sharp in this shot. And here is another shot of one of their players. She's going to be out at first base, and you can see the ball in this shot. It's way over here, but the ball is flying much faster than this runner, and she is going to be out. Here is a play at third base. I think this base runner ended up being safe. She landed on the bag and kind of came off of it, and our third baseman tried to get her out. I think we were playing against Mercer. It was Chattanooga against Mercer. Now, I had a little bit of a different strategy during this game. I was trying to get some kind of close-up shots. Usually I try to get the entire athlete head to toe, the full bat, their shoes, nothing cut off. But just to try something different, I tried to get some up-close shots. And I thought this one turned out really cool. You got the bokified opposing team players there and kind of a good portrait of this player while she's concentrating and getting ready to bat. As you can see, this is 200mm on an APS-C camera, so 300mm full frame equivalent. And here's another kind of the same thing, but this one she's actively batting sliding. The other one, she was kind of getting ready. Number 2 here is actually taking a swing. It's another 200mm shot. And the camera, you know, I don't think the ZFC, and I didn't use the Z50, Heather did, but I don't think the ZFC did as good as the D500, which I used last time I shot here, and I don't think the D500 does as good as my Canon R6. But all of those cameras are capable of making sports photographs. Speaking of that, here is the ZFC catching number 2 as she has just barely gotten out at first base. Looks like the first baseman has the ball in her glove, and unfortunately number 2 is going to be out at first. Here's another pitching shot, a 1/4,000th of a second shot at 2.8, and she is about to sling that thing down in there. Here is another up close shot. I think this is the first baseman. She has the blue paint on her face, if I recall correctly, and this is another kind of an up close portrait, and that lens at 200mm and 2.8 will really bokehify the background. It's just a very high quality, if not new, lens. And here's another close-up shot, another f2.8 shot at 1/4000th, 200mm of number 16 waiting for a pitch. And here's the third baseman. She looks like somebody's bunted one or hit a grounder in her direction, and she is running up there to field that thing. And looks like number 27 has made a double. There she is. She's made it around to second base, and she is looking over at the dugout saying, come on, let's get this thing going, let's score some runs. And look at that, there she is, number 27, and someone has hit the ball and driven her in. And look at this photograph, pretty cool, 16:7 widescreen crop of number 27 as she's sliding into home plate, and I think home plate is right here, and they called her safe on this play. So this is probably my favorite photograph of the day that I made, this shot of number 27 sliding into home plate. 110mm shot. This is through the net, so the 70-200 2.8 G VR2 can make that net disappear pretty well. Not bad at all for the ZFC, which is not supposed to be a sports camera. Here's number 20 getting ready to bat, another 200mm close-up shot, and here's our pitcher. I guess this is the second pitcher of the afternoon coming in. Number 12 is throwing some pitches, and this is kind of a close-up, sort of from behind looking down the third base line sort of a shot that I tried for a little while, which was okay. She's just hit that ball and it's starting to fly out of the frame. And kind of another along those same lines. I was just experimenting, trying to do something different because I didn't want all my shots to turn out the same. So I thought I'd try some other strategies. Here is another 16:7 shot of a player sliding into second base. A lot of action there. Look at the dirt flying up, and if you are presenting things 16:7, it has a dramatic look sometimes, I thought. And here is the coach out giving a pep talk to number 99 as I think she was coming in to pinch hit. So that was kind of a cool moment to capture. And there is number 99 swinging that bat hard. It's interesting when they release their right hand from the bat on a swing. That's not just softball, baseball, everybody does that, but it's cool looking to me, and I captured it here. Heather shot the entire game with her Tamron 18-400 Super Zoom on an FTZ and the Nikon Z50. Now this is the first time Heather has ever photographed softball, and I think she did a dynamite job. But one thing I did not show her is that if you don't lean up really close to the net, then the net can show up, and you can see the net is showing up here and here in this picture because she was having to shoot through the net. Now that may be because the Tamron lens does not have a very wide aperture, and it also may be because Heather didn't lean up really close to the net, or maybe a combination of those two things. But it's my fault because I saw her shooting, but I never did say, hey, you should lean up some. I didn't even think of it, so my fault. But anyway, look at these awesome pictures that Heather made, and the settings are right over here. Looks like she's shooting at about 1/1600th of a second because she's got a much slower lens in this 3.5 to 6.3 lens. Remember, I was shooting with a 1.4 that I had to stop down to 2, and a 2.8 that I left wide open at 2.8. But here it is, a batter shot from Heather, and another batter shot from Heather. I think that's two separate batters. Yep, number 20 and number 1. She's caught, and Heather didn't get to move around. She stayed in one place. She didn't have a media pass, so she kind of needed to stay in her seat. I could kind of wander around the place. So she did all of her shots from this one or maybe two seats. And look, here's another batter shot, and she's got that ball almost right on the bat in this 75mm shot. And here is the first baseman. I think I have a shot really similar to this, but Heather's got the ball closer to the glove, and that runner is definitely out because she's not even in the picture yet. And here is one of our runners who is rounding first base and heading over to second, and looks like this UTC batter is bunting in this 92mm shot. Really cool shot. And look, I didn't get this shot. Heather got this runner sliding into home. Really nice shot. First time Heather has ever done softball photography, by the way. Great job. And that is another shot in that same series. Here's a picture shot. Looks like she's got her eyes pretty good and sharp in that shot, and there's the C on the ball that I've mentioned in other videos that I really like to see, the Chattanooga C. Here's another picture shot, getting ready to sling it down in there, and you can see an outfielder over here is ready, and so is this infield player here. And great shot here. Heather's got the first baseman number 1. You can see the ball in her glove, nice and sharp, and Mercer's number 34 is definitely out, heading to first base. Here's another batting shot. I think that's the first baseman again, number 1, about to hit the ball, or maybe she's already hit the ball. Cool shot. And looks like Heather's done that one in 16:9. I did a lot of mine even wider than that, but 16:9 is perfect for YouTube because it fills the screen. Here's another batter shot, also 16:9. Got the ball right on the bat, and looks like it's heading away from the bat at this time. Really cool. And another batting shot from number 20 hitting the ball. And ooh, look at that. Looks like, I guess that's number 5 is going to be safe. You can see the ball up here heading towards Mercer's first baseman, but number 5 is already just about to touch the base. I believe she's going to be safe. And here is the relief pitcher. Heather's getting a nice shot of her about to sling the ball in, and there it goes. And I think this girl's going to be safe. I don't believe the first baseman has the ball yet. Looks like you can see her eyes clearly. Looks like she's watching the ball fly her way, but looks like Mercer's player is going to be safe at first. When I first saw this shot, I thought it might have been a double play shot, but it looks like she's just caught the ball and Mercer's player has already slid into second base safely. Great shot, 300mm. So that would be 450mm equivalent full frame. That 18-400 is quite a lens, especially for the money. Here's one of Mercer's players coming in to score, and here is a Chattanooga batter hitting the ball. I shot the entire game in face detect mode, which almost never detected a face. It was mostly the red squares of confusion. What method did you shoot?
About half the time with single point and then half the time with face detect. That again did not find a single face ever.
Did you have the red squares of confusion?
Yeah, I did.
Cool.
It mostly got the correct thing though.
Yeah, the red squares of confusion usually are focusing on something, so sometimes they work. All right, thanks for joining us from here at beautiful Frost Stadium for a little bit of softball photography with the entire lineup of Nikon APS-C Z series cameras, the Z50 and the ZFC. Thanks a bunch. We hope to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.